beautiful friends, my name is Anna. Welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious Cuban style roast pork. This recipe is outstanding. It is so good. If you don't know by now, I'm Cuban. I was born in Cuba, and for us pork is really important. We eat pork on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. We pretty much eat pork all year round, but this one we're making with a mojo criollo, which is like a marinade, and it's very garlicky and it is very garlicky and citrusy, and it's so delicious. This is kind of like our special recipe for the holidays. I'm gonna run you through the ingredients very quickly so we can get started. Here I have some fresh cilantro, parsley, salt, ground cumin, black pepper, ground bay leaves, extra virgin olive oil, onion, garlic, oregano, some bitter or sour orange. I'm gonna talk about this for a second. And of course, we have the pork. If you're not familiar with bitter or sour orange, it is pretty much just like the name says. It is a very soury orange. It's kind of like a mix between a lime and an orange. It is crucial in Caribbean cuisine. We use it a lot. It is delicious, especially for mojos. It is a must. Obviously, if you can find the actual fruit, because it is quite hard to find, they also sell the juice in bottles. So go ahead and use that. And if you can't find that either, do half orange juice, half lime juice, and you're gonna be good to go. But that's a little something that I want to talk about because it is essential in this recipe. For the meat, I'm using a shoulder pig neck, but you can also use a pork butt. And let me tell you, you want something that has some kind of skin on top, or something that's really fatty, because the end result has to be a very tender, juicy, delicious meat, and then the skin gets nice and crispy on top. It is so good. So you definitely want a piece of meat that's fatty and has some skin on it. That's it for the ingredients, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be making the marinade in my food processor because it is a lot quicker and a lot easier. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to give this a rough shove so it can fit a little better in there. And remember that I always have the written recipe on my website, www.anitasdelicesrecipes.com. I'm gonna do the same thing to my onion. I'm just gonna give this a rough chop so it can fit a little better in the food processor. As you can see, the container's full, so I'm gonna go ahead and chop this very quickly just so I have enough space to fit the rest of the ingredients. So I'm just going to continue doing this. So it's very quickly. Give it a little smash. Remove the skin. Give it another smash. And into there it goes. If you don't have a food processor, you can always do this by hand. You just want to make sure that you mince everything very finely. Okay, so I'm going to add the oregano in there along with the rest of my seasonings. I'm gonna go ahead and measure the amount of orange that I need. I have my juice ready here, and I'm gonna add some olive oil. I'm also going to add my mixture along with my salt. I'm going to mix this all together. Okay, so this is looking good. Now, this is what we're gonna do. We're going to get a meat, and with a knife, we want to make some cuts into the meat. That way, when we marinate it, the marinade can penetrate the meat, and it's gonna be even better. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make a few cuts all around the meat. As you can see, there's some little slits. Now we're going to pour the marinade all over the meat. We're gonna get some in there, so just open up those little slits and get the marinade all inside the meat. Now we're going to flip the meat because we want the actual meat to get all those beautiful juices. And then what I like to do at times, I actually like to remove some of the skin. So with my knife, I'm gonna go ahead and remove. We don't want to actually remove the skin. We just want to detach the skin. So I'm gonna go in here and just detach the skin from the meat. Just like so. So I didn't detach it completely. So you can see I left some with the skin on. And what I like to do is just rub the marinade on the meat. Beautiful, just like that. Okay, and then I like to put the skin on. Okay, so we have the meat marinated. Now, ideally, you would let this marinate minimum 12 hours, right? So the night before you make this, do the whole marinade, pop it in the fridge overnight, 12 hours, maximum 24 hours. And the flavor, it's gonna be out of this world phenomenal. It is gonna be so good. For the purpose of the video, I'm not gonna let it marinate 12 hours. I am going to let it marinate 1 hour. So if you can't let it marinate for that long, at least marinate for 1 hour because it does make the world of a difference. But like I said, ideally 24 hours the night before works perfectly fine. So I'm gonna let this marinate for about an hour. I'm gonna remove it from the fridge. You want to remove it from the fridge about 30 minutes before you pop it in the oven. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop mine in the fridge for at least an hour, like I said, and then we're gonna meet back here. My meat was marinated in the fridge for an hour. I took it out 30 minutes ago so it can come down to room temperature a little bit before we actually pop it in the oven. I also have my oven preheated on roast at 325 degrees Fahrenheit because you want to cook this very nice and slow for a few hours so the meat can get nice and tender or juicy. I'm gonna cover mine with some foil. I like to cook this with the foil on for about an hour. And after an hour, I remove the foil so the skin can start getting really nice and crispy. This is an 8-pound piece of meat. So mine is gonna cook for about 2 hours to 3 hours or 325 degrees. After, I like to bring the heat up at 400 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes so the skin can get very nice and crispy and crunchy and it's gonna be delicious. My pork is done. And it's looking absolutely fantastic. The pork was in the oven covered at 325 for, I think it was like 3 hours and 15 minutes. I removed the foil and I let it cook so the skin could get really nice and crispy at 400 degrees. I think it was like 30 minutes. You also want to use a thermometer, you have one, and then put it in. Make sure it reads 170 degrees Fahrenheit. That's how you know it's completely ready. I did let it sit for about 15 minutes with the foil on, just so it could rest a little bit more. And it is so juicy and perfect. And the skin, I don't know if you guys can hear that. The skin is so nice and crispy and it's gonna be delicious. I am gonna cut into it. Let me see right here, because I am gonna take a picture of it, of course. But I do wanna cut into it. I do need to try it. Oh yeah, that looks too good. Let me cut it right here. Just want a little piece. It's still really hot. It is so incredibly juicy and perfect. The flavor is just too good. Honestly, I do want to get a little bit of the skin. The skin gets really nice and crispy. And let's see if I can just, it's really hot. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it is so crispy and just perfect. This is perfection all around. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Remember, the written recipe is on my website, www.anitasdelightsrecipes.com. I'm also going to post a video after this one of ways you can use your leftover pork, because it is a lot of meat, so you might not use it all and you might have some leftovers. So I have a great way to use the leftover meat, so stay tuned for that. Like I said, if you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.